Los Angeles, California, 1984, 3 in the morning. Muhammad Ali's private gym in Hancock Park. The lights were on, but the shades were drawn. Nobody could see inside. Nobody was supposed to know what was happening in there 3 nights a week for the past 6 months. Muhammad Ali was in the ring, not to spar, not to train for a fight. Those days were over. The Parkinsons had seen to that. But he could still move, could still teach, could still show someone how to stand their ground. Michael Jackson was across from him, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. No sequined glove, no fedora, no performance. Just Michael, 26 years old, the biggest pop star on the planet, and absolutely terrified. "Hands up," Ali said, his voice quieter than it used to be. The disease affecting his volume, but the authority was still there. "Protect your face. Always protect your face." Michael raised his hands, thin arms, dancer's body, not built for fighting, built for performing, for moonwalking, for making music that changed the world, but not for this. "I can't do this," Michael said, his voice soft, almost a whisper. "I'm not a fighter, I'm not brave like you." "Nobody's brave like me," Ali smiled, "but you don't need to be me. You just need to be able to stand up for yourself, to not run, to not hide, to face what scares you." This had started 6 months earlier, March 1984. Michael Jackson was at the peak of his fame. Thriller was the biggest album in history. He was touring, making videos, being mobbed everywhere he went. But something was eating at him, something that fame and success couldn't fix. He was being bullied, not by fans, not by press, by people in the industry. Producers, directors, label executives, people who saw his gentle nature and exploited it, who pushed him around, who took advantage, who knew Michael would rather give in than fight back. It had gotten worse after the Pepsi commercial incident, the accident that left him in pain, on medications, vulnerable. People saw that vulnerability and some of them used it, pushed harder, demanded more, treated him like he was weak. Michael had been raised to be polite, to be kind, to never cause trouble. His father had been the aggressive one, the fighter. Michael had learned to survive by being agreeable, by giving people what they wanted, by never pushing back. It had worked when he was young, but now as an adult, as the biggest star in the world, that same survival mechanism was destroying him. He couldn't say no, couldn't set boundaries, couldn't stand up to people who were taking advantage of him, and it was eating him alive, making him paranoid, making him isolated, making him feel like everyone was out to get him because he couldn't defend himself. One night, after a particularly brutal meeting where a producer had screamed at him for an hour about changes to a video, Michael broke down. Called the one person he thought might understand, Muhammad Ali. They'd met a few times, at charity events, at award shows, always brief conversations. But Michael had been fascinated by Ali, by how he commanded respect, by how nobody pushed Ali around, by how Ali seemed to have this internal strength that made people think twice before trying to take advantage. "Muhammad," Michael had said on the phone, his voice shaking, "I need help. I don't know who else to call. What's wrong? I can't stand up for myself. People keep pushing me around, using me, and I just let them. I'm afraid all the time, afraid to say no, afraid to fight back, afraid to be anything but agreeable, and it's killing me." There was a pause on the line. Then Ali's voice, steady, strong. "Come to my gym, tomorrow night, 3 a.m. Don't tell anyone, just come." That was 6 months ago. Since then, 3 nights a week at 3 in the morning, Michael Jackson and Muhammad Ali had been meeting in secret. And Ali had been teaching Michael something that nobody would have expected: how to fight. Not literally, not really. Michael wasn't learning to box professionally, wasn't training for the ring. But Ali was teaching him the fundamentals: how to stand, how to move, how to defend himself, how to not flinch, how to face something coming at him and not automatically back down. It's not about the punches, Ali explained during that first session. It's about the mindset. In the ring, you can't be afraid. You can't hesitate. You have to believe you belong there, that you deserve to be there, that you're not going to be pushed around. That's what I'm teaching you, not how to hit someone, how to believe you have the right not to be hit. They started simple: stance, balance, how to stand in a way that said you weren't going to be moved. Michael's natural instinct was to lean back, to create distance, to retreat. Ali kept correcting him. Plant your feet, stand your ground. You're not running. You're not hiding. You're here. You're solid. You're not going anywhere. It felt ridiculous at first. Michael Jackson, who could dance like nobody else, who had perfect rhythm and movement, couldn't figure out how to just stand still and strong. His body wanted to flow, to move, to avoid. Ali kept stopping him. Dancing is about moving with things. Farting is about standing against things. You need both. You can move, but from a place of strength, not from fear. Week after week, session after session, Ali worked with Michael, teaching him to jab. Not hard, not to hurt anyone, but to extend his arm, to claim space, to say with his body, "This is my space, and I'm not giving it up." Every time you throw a jab, Ali said, you're saying no. You're saying I exist, I matter. You can't push me. That's what it means. That's the real purpose. Michael started to understand. This wasn't about violence. This was about presence, about not apologizing for existing, about believing he had the right to defend himself. The mental training was harder than the physical. Ali would stand in front of Michael and just look at him, steady, strong. And Michael's instinct was to look away, to defer, to make himself smaller. "Look at me," Ali would say. "Don't look away. Hold my eyes. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to be seen. You're allowed to not disappear." Michael would try. His eyes would start to water. Years of conditioning, years of making himself small to survive, years of believing that being agreeable was the only way to be safe. It all came up. All fought against this new instruction to stand tall, to be present, to not shrink. "Why is this so hard?" Michael asked one night, frustrated, exhausted. "I perform in front of millions of people. Why can't I just stand here and look you in the eye?" Because performing is different. When you perform, you're giving people what they want. You're performing. This is different. This is not about what other people want. This is just about you, holding yourself in this space. You're making them happy. You're the one with less power, trying to please the ones with more power. This, Ali gestured between them, this is equal. This is you standing as my equal, not performing for me, not making me happy, just existing as a full person who deserves respect. That's what you're not used to. That hit Michael like a punch. He started crying, right there in the gym. "I've never felt equal to anyone, ever. Not my father, not the label, not the producers, not anyone. I'm always the one trying to please them, trying to be good enough, trying to earn the right to exist." Ali put his hand on Michael's shoulder. "That stops now. You don't earn the right to exist. You have it, by being human, by being you, and we're going to train your body and your mind to believe that until you can't not believe it." They worked on scenarios, role-playing. Ali would pretend to be an aggressive producer, would yell demands, would try to intimidate. And Michael had to practice standing his ground, not running, not giving in, just standing, breathing, staying present. At first, Michael would crumble immediately, would start apologizing, would agree to whatever Ali demanded. They'd stop, reset, try again. "You don't have to fight back with aggression," Ali coached. "You just have to not move. Just stand, Breathe. Let them yell. Let them demand. But you don't move. You don't give ground. You don't agree out of fear. You just stand there until they're done. And then you decide what you want to do. From a place of strength, not fear. Month after month, Michael got better. His stance got stronger. His eye contact got steadier. His voice got clearer. He started to believe somewhere deep in his body that he was allowed to take up space. The real test came in June. 4 months into the training, Michael had a meeting with a notorious producer who'd been pushing him around for years, demanding impossible things. Using Michael's gentle nature against him, Michael went into that meeting different. He didn't argue, didn't yell back, didn't get aggressive. But when the producer started his usual intimidation tactics, Michael just stood there. Literally stood up, planted his feet the way Ali had taught him, looked the producer in the eye, and didn't move. "Are you listening to me?" the producer yelled. "I'm listening," Michael said calmly, "but I'm not agreeing. What you're asking for isn't reasonable, and I'm not doing it." The producer was stunned. This wasn't the Michael he knew, the Michael who always gave in, always apologized, always made himself smaller. This Michael was standing tall, looking him in the eye, claiming space. "You don't get to talk to me like that. I'm not talking to you any particular way. I'm just standing here, not moving, not giving in. You can yell all you want, but I'm not changing my answer." The producer tried for another 20 minutes. Threats, guilt trips, manipulation. Michael just stood there, breathing, present, solid. Eventually, the producer gave up, left the room angry. But Michael had won. Not by fighting, by not running. That night, Michael called Ali. "It worked. I stood my ground. I didn't give in, and I didn't have to be mean. I didn't have to fight. I just had to not move." Ali's voice on the other end was proud. "That's what I've been trying to teach you. Strength isn't about aggression. It's about presence, about knowing you have the right to be there, to take up space, to say no. You found that today. That's yours now. Nobody can take it away." They continued training for 2 more months, refining, practicing, building Michael's confidence. But the real work was done. Michael had found something in himself he didn't know was there. The ability to stand up, not by being aggressive, not by being mean, just by being present, by not running, by believing he deserved respect. Not because Michael didn't need it anymore, but because Ali's Parkinson's was getting worse. The late nights were taking a toll. The physical demonstration was becoming harder. But Ali had given Michael what he needed: the foundation, the belief, the physical memory of what it felt like to stand strong. "I can't thank you enough," Michael said during their last session. "You taught me how to be brave. Not like you. I'll never be like you. But brave in my own way. Brave enough to stop running, to stop hiding, to stop making myself small. You gave me myself back." Ali smiled. "I didn't give you anything. It was always there. I just showed you where to find it. You did the work. You showed up. You faced your fear. You learned to stand. That's all you. That's all Michael Jackson. The real one. Not the performer. The person." Michael hugged Ali, something he rarely did. Physical contact usually made him uncomfortable. But Ali had earned it, had seen Michael at his most vulnerable, and hadn't judged, had helped him find strength without making him feel weak, had been the father figure Michael needed, the one who taught him to stand instead of just perform. Over the next few years, people in the industry noticed a change in Michael. He started saying no, started setting boundaries, started standing up for himself. Not aggressively, not meanly, just firmly, clearly, from a place of strength. When people pushed, he didn't fold, he didn't run. He just stood there, present, solid, until they realized they couldn't push him anymore. until they learned to respect him, not just as a talent, as a person. He never told anyone about the training, never revealed the 6 months with Ali. That was private, sacred, between him and the man who taught him that strength wasn't about fighting. It was about standing, about presence, about believing you deserved respect. When Ali's Parkinson's got worse, in the late 80s and 90s, Michael quietly paid for treatments, therapies, care. Never publicly, never for credit, just because Ali had given him something priceless, had seen him, had helped him, had stood with him when he couldn't stand alone, and then had taught him how to stand. In 2016, when Ali died, Michael had been gone for 7 years. But those who knew about the training spoke about it for the first time. About the 6 months, about the 3 a.m. sessions, about the pop star and the boxer, about how Ali had taught Michael to stand up, not with fists, with presence. One of Ali's trainers said it best. People think Muhammad only taught people how to fight, but what he really taught Michael was how not to run, how to be present, how to believe he deserved space in the world. That's not boxing, that's life. That's what Michael needed, and Muhammad gave it to him. The lesson is profound. Strength isn't always about aggression. Sometimes it's about presence, about standing your ground, about not running from what scares you, about believing you have the right to take up space, to say no, to defend yourself not with violence, but with the simple act of not moving, of not giving in, of not making yourself small to make others comfortable. Michael Jackson learned that from Muhammad Ali, in a gym at 3 in the morning, over 6 months that nobody knew about. 2 legends, 2 very different men, one teaching the other that bravery comes in many forms. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just stand there, present, solid, refusing to disappear. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs permission to stand up for themselves. Subscribe for more stories about the secret moments when legends helped each other survive. And remember, you don't have to fight to be strong. You just have to refuse to run, refuse to hide, refuse to make yourself small. Stand your ground, the way Ali taught Michael, the way Michael finally learned to do. That's strength. That's courage. That's what 6 months at 3 in the morning can teach you when the right person believes you're worth teaching.